Savvy Agenda here from at We Light Beans and at figure.8.energy on Instagram. And I'm here with a message to remind y'all to be your authentic self. And that's really challenging to do in the world that we live in the cultures that we grow up in maybe the families you've grown up in, the schools that you go to. You know, we are taught to be a certain way, to fall in line, to be great producers, to be good kids, and we can do all that. We're doing all the right things, and still there may be something missing, because who you are at the core of your being, whether it's like weird, goofy, nerdy, maybe you look really highly energetic, passionate, or just, like whatever it really means to be you. And I should frame this by saying, like, how there's those people who you feel you can be completely at home with, like be super at ease and just be you, and they'll love you unconditionally. Like, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about authenticity. It's like the ability to be that everywhere, anywhere, all the time, always. And once you start tapping into that, then you'll see that the universe will reward you for being authentic, because you will continue to attract experiences that you truly, absolutely want, instead of the experiences that you're told to want, right? So if there's a lot of conformity, right? You're in a setting, and I'm guilty of this too. I'm not completely, I am more embodying my authenticity than ever before. And still there's moments where I realize, like, oh, I am actually shifting my behavior to make other people comfortable right now. And I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't have to walk on eggshells just so other people can be comfortable, because what service am I doing? Not only am I not serving myself by allowing myself to flow and truly be, but now I'm not letting people heal in the ways that they could heal by seeing somebody else operate in their authenticity. And so the ways that I would do it is, I would acknowledge that a certain aspects of my being would trigger somebody, and then I would withhold it because I didn't want to trigger them. And then now they're just in this perpetual cycle of what they're going through. And it's like, no, I should just truly be in all of these moments, because it may trigger something in them, but that's just highlighting an area that they need to be healed, and I shouldn't stop their opportunity to heal, right? Like, that suffering is temporary. The suffering that is prolonged is the suffering that happens when we all just continue to shift our ways of being to make other people comfortable. And so then we attract more situations like that. We attract more situations where we can only show up as one part of ourselves. And that's perpetuating the suffering for yourself. But if you start being your more authentic self, and sure, some folks will shed away, but then you'll attract other folks who love those aspects of you. Or the people that may have a little distaste at first, they'll learn to love you as you are, because they'll see you for all the beauty that you are. Not everybody can understand who you are, what you're going through, what you're bringing into the future. But whenever you just continue to show up, over time they see, and over time they'll understand. And if not, it just might not be their chance to. But you've planted seeds. It's the whole being that positive influence and making that great impact by just simply being. Because otherwise we run into imposter syndrome, right? It's like you're showing up and you're being and you're doing all the things that you're told that you should be to make people proud, to be proper, to just fall in line, and you're not feeling completely whole, because there's this part of you that's like, this is not fully me. I can do this. right? I can show up at let me give you an example, right? So when I went back for my bachelor's, I studied marketing because I was thinking like marketing could go across any subject anywhere, and I know that it's heavily in like almost every aspect of our consumer society, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And the year that I did it, they had just opened a program for marketing where you would actually have to take a series of classes that dives a little bit into each one of these sectors of marketing, and then you would take an entrance exam, and only 15% of the people who entered it got it. So I did get it, and I was very proficient in every single area of marketing that they had. And some particular ones that really stood out to me was broadcast journalism, right? And I was really good at it. The professor would read my article often, and what they do is they give you a little bit of facts, and you create a story from it, and there's all these elements that make it successful, or psychology, and some of those aspects are making sure that you're evoking people's emotions and making it have some sort of arc to it. And so they'll give you like very little details at all, and then you spin the story. And so I did it, and I remember him reading it to the class and me feeling disgusted, just like, this is a lie. This is clever lies. They're teaching us how to pull on people's heartstrings, and this isn't even the truth. Like, it's not a straight up lie as like the polar opposite of what I'm saying, but it's all like insinuations. And so like I got the assignment, right? Like, I knew how to do the assignment. I was really good at it. Anyways, so at the end of the semester, the main professor, she was like, okay, now that everybody's done this, how many of y'all are really excited to continue going forward in the marketing program? And everybody raised their hands. And she's like, okay, and how many of you aren't? I raised my hand. People looked at me like I was crazy. The girl next to me, she was like my student buddy. We did a lot of our work studies together, and she looked at me just like in embarrassment, right? And my professor was like, well, why? And you know what I said? I said, because this is evil. The looks that I got, complete silence. I felt the energy on me like, this girl is crazy. We just worked our butts off, took this exam. Only a small fraction of people got into it. She was part of them who got into it, and she's telling us that this is evil. Crazy. Move on. Professor didn't say anything. All right, it was just that dramatic pause with everybody in there, and I stopped going to college after that because I was just like, this is not what I want to be a part of. I understand the psychology of it, and I see how it can be used for good, but also the way that they're teaching people how to use it is not something that I subscribe to, right? I couldn't feel like I was being my authentic self in doing that. So I could go to college and I can do all these things, but if I continued to go throughout the programs, I would have felt like an imposter because I was just doing these things because I was being taught how to do them, not because I actually felt good about it, right? And this can also happen when we go into like different social situations where we're showing up in a way that is comfortable for everybody else. We're like essentially like playing this role, but there's this level of you that feels like, well, I can't actually like make this one joke, or I can't wear a particular outfit, or really talk about the things that you want to talk about. Sometimes, especially if you're along this healing path, like you want to talk about deeper things that would spark conversations that make some people uncomfortable who aren't ready for it. And so that's part of like feeling like an imposter if you're just floating along in these conversations and they're just like surface level, and your mind is somewhere else, and the whole notion of being unapologetically you is really big. I remember years ago, I had a new friend who, she saw me and she was so excited, and she just wanted me to be unapologetically me because she could see where I was holding back Like, I would dip into some friend groups where I would show my ethereal self, and then there was other moments where I would just strictly be business. And I do think that it's necessary to navigate in this world, but I was uh, feeling very shy, and over time I got out of it, and now I can just like fully be myself and be okay with it. But there was a lot of pressures against me, like a lot of pushback. There's people would say some like really harsh things that would really hurt, and so I'd be like, whoa, if I'm my authentic self, if I'm really speaking on these things that I know to be true and people aren't ready to receive it, they're gonna try to cancel me, because cancel culture was a thing, if you allow it to be. And nowadays it's just like, I don't care. We were talking about this earlier today. So as an awakening, I go on stage, and it's funny. I'm teaching people how to tap into their tonal frequencies, right? And I'm talking and I'm saying that everybody's tonal frequencies is going to sound a little bit different. And so don't try to compare yourself to anybody else, because we're all at different levels and we all have different energy stuck in certain chakras. And then I go on to tell them, like, okay, so this is what it sounds like for me. And I go, and it was a little bit more, but like I'm talking normal, I can connect with y'all, and now let me just throw this a little bit of alien out, right? And I also went out with my elf ears on, and I was feeling like such in my power, right? And I didn't care. The whole festival, I was just like that. And I could be like it now too, but honestly I've just been lazy to like put the ears on, because they kind of like fall off sometimes. And so like it's just like a fun thing for me to do sometimes. But that was me just like showing up unapologetically. And nowadays, like, even when I'm going through society, I may not have my ears on, but I'm still going to be me. I'm not gonna stay in a conversation if it's not if I don't feel like it's really benefiting anybody. Like, I'm not going to do something just to keep a baseline or status quo, or make people feel comfortable. But on the topic of like being more authentic and being more you, once you're doing that, you're giving signs to the universe to reward you with more things that support that authentic aspect of your being. It's so much easier to manifest by just being you, because that's all you really have to do. You don't have to go into your journal and write down things and like light a candle and like do it underneath the full moon. All those things help, absolutely, but just by you existing and being, you're going to be able to attract what you want, because you're sending out these high vibrations, these frequencies of being happy, of being free, that liberation of just being able to flow as you are. And then eventually, like, you're met with other beings who see that, and they're just like, oh yeah, like, this person is being, and I can be with this person as they're being. And so like opportunities will continue to open up. Like, so when I branched back out, and I touched on this on some of my videos, like, people, they know me for restaurant stuff, and so that's what they think I'm here to offer, is just like vegan food. And it's like, yeah, I can do vegan food, but I also am so much more, and that's what I'm sharing more. I'm sharing more of the energy teachings, the holistic healing teachings, the spirituality work, the just like all of these different aspects that I feel like I want to tap into. But I have had people tell me, oh no, like, you should just stick with what people already know you for. And it's like, no, that is just one aspect of my being. I am so much more than that. And they're like, yeah, but you're gonna have to start all over. And it's like, so what? Like, I did it back then with food. I can do it right now with these other aspects of my being, and I will be met with that, and opportunities will show up. The opportunities will create themselves. We are human beings. We are here to create, right? So I'm going to create the reality where I have the opportunity to share all of these things that elevate frequency in a way that is easier for my energetic being to flow. Because doing food is so masculine. Like, making food, the creation aspect of it is feminine, right? But the hustle that goes behind making large quantities of food, the before, the during, the the planning, the shopping, the prepping, the cleaning, the delivering, the setting up, the cleaning. All of that is so much energy. And it's not sustainable for me. To elevate frequencies, I can do it every now and then, but the bigger impact that I can have is I can go and teach people themselves, not just give them one meal, you know? I can give them the tools to create a recipe for their life. And that has such a bigger impact. So that's like more what I'm going towards. And those are more of the opportunities that are showing up now. And, you know, a lot of things were against me. And society will tell you, like, as a single mom, you can't do a lot of things, you know? Like, yeah, at the time when I was coming back out into the community and deciding that I wanted to do these offerings, it was me, a 2-month-old, and a 2-year-old. I didn't have a home. I didn't have a way to make money. I didn't even have food stamps on my card. Like, I had 0. And now it's happening. It's been happening. It keeps growing and expanding. And I'm doing what I said I was going to do. And I'm showing up as me unapologetically and not shifting just because other people say that I should shift to make things easier, because it actually doesn't make it easier. It doesn't make it easier if I'm not being my authentic self. And then I'm manifesting more of these things. Like, yeah, I'm manifesting a job to keep money to come in to do all these things. But then it's just like rat race, loop, circle. I don't want to do that. I've done that already. I'm ready for something different, and I'm experiencing it now. And so that's the whole being rewarded. I am being rewarded with opportunities to share with people. I have high vibrational food. I have a place to stay. I have beautiful family and community. All these opportunities that are opening up. I feel myself expanding even more because I'm able to share. Because I am able to walk in my Dharma. Because I'm able to connect with other individuals who see me, who love who I am in every aspect of my being. And that was something that was difficult in the past, because I would fall into these relationships where people would see one aspect of me and they would love that aspect, and then there's other aspects of me that they try to quiet down, try to hush down, right? Maybe I'm too business-like and it intimidates them because now I have connections with all these people and they just like want to cover my energy. Or they don't want me to go up there on that stage and do these things because they think that I need to just be in a home and I need to tend to them, tend to the house, and not be able to tap into all my other things. It's just like, but those are things that I want. And so to keep the peace, I would release this part of me that desired to be on the stage, that desired to connect with people, to be social, to share, to teach, to rise. And it kept me at this baseline. I was living, I was sustaining, but I was giving my life force to somebody else. If it's in a job, to something else. And then it makes these entities feel powerful, right? You give your life force to a job that you don't really want to be at, but you're making them more powerful. You're continuing them to be able to sustain the offerings that they're doing, and the offerings even something that you really stand behind, or you're just doing it because it gives you an exchange of money. You know, and if you're in a relationship where you're hiding aspects of yourself because it makes the other person uncomfortable, then but you're not feeling fulfilled at the end of the day. You know? But are they even really happy? No, because at some level, they can feel what they're doing to you. But they're still stuck in that trauma of being selfish. That program that the world revolves around them, but then why aren't they happy? Why do things continue not to work out for them? Because they're continuing to attract more things that aren't in alignment. Because if they were being their authentic self, their authentic self wouldn't want to cause other people suffering. That is a result of trauma. Wanting to control others, to control situations, that's trauma. If you can control the environment, if you can control the people around you, then maybe you have control over your life because you didn't feel control in some other aspect. The person's not really being authentic. Maybe it seems like it's authentic, like it's them authentically acting through their wounds, but it's not their child self. Their child self that's sweet, loving, kind, connect with the source, the little glimpses of the people that you see in them, the being that you see in them. So, yeah, not being authentic to yourself, you're giving your energy to other people, to other entities, businesses, to use. And when you stop doing that, you will find that there are going to be people who love you for who you are, for all of you. And they're going to celebrate it. And you'll feel more empowered to be more of that, to tap into more of that. You know, as I'm feeling all of this, I'm writing it down, and I check my CoStar, right, the astrology app, and it says for today, I wrote it down, being yourself in a world that is trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. It absolutely is. You know how much strength it takes to be you? We're born into these boxes, right? Indoctrinated. Told what you must do and the sequence of doing things. And if you're not doing it, you're going to make the people around you uncomfortable. You're not going to make certain people proud because you're not doing the things the way that society's told you to do them. And so, what? The programming, there's a glitch in the programming. Now this person is thinking for themselves and expressing themselves. They're being them, and they do not fit into this box of productivity and consumerism. Now they're suddenly liberated and they can flow and do what they want, and they realize they don't need all of these structures. The structures, originally, I do not feel like they were meant to control us. I feel like they were meant to give us healthy boundaries, to support us. But somewhere along the lines, the control aspect came in there. You know, there are entities that realize, as I see this 2222, because we're going to release the negativity after this, there were entities that were there who saw it as an opportunity to make more money, to get more power. But we're coming out of that. We're coming out of that because we're aware, right? There's a beautiful bee on my phone stand right now who sprinkles a little bit of pollen to each flower as it goes by. It continues to create honey for its colony, the hive, for its queen, who's creating more beings. Isn't that cute? Taking only what it needs and giving so much more. And then there are these hands that come in and take everything that they've put their energy into so they can consume it. Because it's sweet. Because maybe it has medicinal properties. Because it benefits the other in some way. But that's not yours. And the bee is unconscious that this is happening. It just continues to do. Continues to pour its life force into it. And have these things taken from them. They've worked their entire lives to make an eighth of a teaspoon. You think that the energy that you're putting out is going towards sustaining your family, putting food on the plates, putting a shelter over your head, and it is. It absolutely is. That is your energy that you did, that you put out there, that you exchanged. And also, you gave more than you needed to. You gave more so you can supply the hand that takes. Maybe initially the hand fed, right? Gave you a structured environment to be in. I'm looking at the government system and the way that our cities are set up. But that already happened. That already happened. The groundwork was already there. So what does it continue to do? The money that you're paying out in all these taxes. I feel like I'm going on a little tangent right now. But we'll regroup. Are these taxes going back to your community? Are they going back to you? Or are they funding people in other countries? And yeah, other countries need help and support. Absolutely. Oh my goodness, the awful things that are happening around the world. And also, there's people starving here. There's people who have paid into the system so much and need so much support, it's not readily available to them. I think about the things that I went through, right? Just moments of wondering where the food was gonna come from. And I'm so grateful for all this, because my faith in Source has provided every time, has worked through other beings to ensure that we were provided for in one way or another, and now I can be at this point where we're not so reliant on all of that. But I remember initially, right, I was pregnant with Rian, and I needed a place to live. I needed a way to get food, and it was getting harder to generate income. I was getting more tired, this time I remember I was doing a lot of energy work to try to make money, but the idea of going to a place and not only exchanging all that energy for it, it's just like I couldn't. I was gonna give birth any day, any moment, any week, right? And I didn't feel like I had that support from the government that I had paid so much into. But I see that we have wars going on. I see that weapons are being made to cause more suffering. And it was so hard for me just to get food stamps. And housing, forget it. Forget it. The government housing that is out there, I'd been trying for years. And so I figured it out, I continued to be my authentic self. And I was met by people who appreciated that, who appreciated the light that I was shining through. I trusted Source so much, and Source brought me beautiful beings who supported us, who I could reciprocate in some way too. And then the story just continues to unfold and go on. And, instead of all of this stuff breaking me down, it just made me stronger. It made my connection with Source stronger, because then I realized the more I was true and the more I was willing to release all of these things, the more space that I had for new beginnings to happen, to be blessed, to be blessings to others. And I could have let all that cripple me, the being told what I should do, how I should do it, knowing that it would eat away at my soul, that I would be in a state of depression if I did do all of that. And instead I continued to strive towards and continue to pray and continue to work on my energy body and do all of these things. And I'm seeing all of the rewards on a daily basis. It took years. It's no easy thing. It's not something that I can decide right now to be my authentic self, right? And continue to do it, because you can make that decision, but then you're going to feel the pressures of the people around you. And so it's really important to stay strong and, to create a network, a community of people, to allow yourself to be connected to other people who are in that way. And if you don't have that, I'm here. Message me, watch my videos. Know that there is somebody out there who's rooting for you, who's done it, and wants you to win, wants you to be your authentic self, because we're all such beautiful fractals of the one source consciousness. You know, we all have so much to offer. We all have our own parts to play in this. And if we're a monocultural, then we're not expressing all of that individualism that God put in us, you know, to be reflections, to experience this world. And I feel the elevation that will come with everybody tapping into their authentic selves and being of love. And so I just want to close out by reminding you what CoStar so graciously offered me today, and it's that being yourself in a world where everybody's trying to change you is the greatest accomplishment. Alright, y'all. If you like what I'm putting out, please touch that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share it with others. Comment. I really enjoy being able to be my authentic self with y'all. And know that some of it will resonate. And then maybe even some magical seeds will sprinkle onto y'all, and you'll feel empowered to take control of your life and also let the divine flow through you to live the life that you were meant to. Alright, I love y'all. Later.